Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Adventure Built. My name is Kelly.
I'm Trevor.
And in today's episode, we are literally going to be chopping up Trev's 4Runner. Stay tuned. All right, bro. So we're back in the shop. Why are we cutting up this perfectly okay 4Runner?
Okay.
It's not a Tacoma.
It's better than a Tacoma.
Not even close.
All right, besides that, so we're cutting up the body mounts on the 4Runner because a common issue with 4Runners and tacos is that when you lift it, you get larger tires on there, you start to get rubbing. In my case, I've got the Ironman 4x4 Foam Cell Pro lift on there. I also have BFG K02s and a 285/70, and I have the Spidertrax 1 1/4 inch spacers on stock wheels. So with that, I'm definitely getting some rubbing on full lock.
And guys, just so you know, we will have description to all the items that Trev's referring to below.
Yep.
What is the solution to this problem?
The solution to the problem is getting these little mounts. These are Metal Tech body chop mounts specifically for the 4Runner. They're really inexpensive, $25. They're on Amazon, so Prime free shipping, and it's pre-bent and everything. Comes in a set for your driver's side and passenger side front body mounts.
All I'm hearing is I get to use my plasma cutter.
Plasma cutter, grinder,
A little bit of everything today.
welding. I don't know how to weld.
It's a skill. So now we're going to get the front of the vehicle off of its tires, get the tires off, and see what we have.
High five.
Before we get into this build, guys, remember 2020 is a year of 1,000 subscribers. So everybody subscribe, let's make this happen. 2020, 1,000, we can do it.
You could do it.
Step number one for this process, and most importantly, is to disconnect the negative terminal. Whenever you're welding on a vehicle, if you don't disconnect the negative battery terminal, you can short circuit your entire electrical system, and you do not want to do that. So don't take the risk, disconnect the negative.
All right, now to figure out how to disconnect the dual battery system.
So confidence invoking.
One of the things to keep in mind, if you have a dual battery system, you need to disconnect both of your negative terminals just to be sure, because there's a couple different places where power still can get through to the grounding.
I have successfully gotten the truck up in the air and on jack stands. You want to make sure that you position the jack stands to not impede with working around that front body mount. And Trevor is struggling through getting his dual battery system fixed because he's got some rattling and shaking going on that thing. Step number 2 is get this pesky tire out of the way.
The next step is to remove the trim that is going to get into the way while we're cutting this off. Now, to get the trim off, there are 3 different types of fasteners on here. There is the ones that you can get with a Phillips head screwdriver or a 10mm wrench. And then there are these ones that you can get off with a flathead screwdriver or a trim tool. And then there are these guys right here and here that are just a big pain in the butt. The best way that we have found to do it so far, if there is a best way to do it, is to pinch the sides from underneath the head of it and trying to pull it out that way. Out of the 2 that we've removed, we've broke one, so best we can do. To remove this lower cover piece, just pull these 2 off, and then you're pulling straight back. And that's it. It's just held in by 2 clips right there. No way. Success.
Now we've got all of the bracketry and trim that needs to come off. All we're gonna do is we're gonna stick this in the hole right here. And put that there, and that'll give us a nice clean work area.
We're gonna remove the lower body mount, the rubber body mount on this, to get it out of the way. That when we're cutting, we don't have to worry about melting this one. We're gonna leave the top one on and just be very careful while we're grinding and welding. But to get it off, the 17 millimeter open, throw it on there, and these ratchetings really help with this. And then a 9 millimeter on the lower, and then you go.
That's tightening. You're tightening.
Oh, damn it. So, make sure you have, let me start over.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, we're gonna have a 17 millimeter on the top, and these ratcheting ones really help. It goes on the bolt above, and then a 9 millimeter on the bottom, and then
way easier, isn't it?
a lot easier when it's going the right way. Now that we got it off, nut comes off, washer, and then the rubber body mount, or the rubber
Bushing.
bushing. Let's go with bushing. Let's start chopping.
It's pretty obvious where Trev is actually rubbing on his tire. This is the driver's side. When he makes a left turn, the outside of the tire edge rubs right here pretty significantly. So we're basically going to cut all of this off and then weld on a plate from the inside that will basically block this whole thing off. So this will all be gone, no more rubbing. From where my hands are at, now this is complete approximation, but from here to where my finger touches the steel and where my thumb touches the steel, I feel like I have enough of a recess where this will fit inside. So my first cut will be along right here. So I actually might just come out and just take this off right here, because I know we're gonna take off this whole front part from the passenger side we did already. So my first cut is gonna be here, up and over, and here, up and over, pretty much completely straight off. For this job, to cut this bracket completely off, I'm gonna use a plasma cutter, even though a grinder with a cutoff wheel will work. I'm just using a plasma cutter because I have it. Number one, if you're doing this project and you're not very comfortable with plasma cutting, welding, grinding, cutoff wheels, I would not attempt this without a friend who is familiar with it, because it is a lot to take on. If you mess it up, it's a very expensive vehicle to mess around with. Two, protect your stuff. Underneath this fireproof blanket is an Ironman 4x4 suspension kit and the brakes and the calipers. You don't want metal shavings on any of this, and anything you do over here is gonna spark and send shavings everywhere. And three, personal protection is also very important when using plasma cutters and welders, because that will burn your skin in a blink of an eye. So face shield, darkened helmet, nice leather gloves, a burn-proof jacket, burn-proof pants, and better safe than sorry. I've got the initial cut. It's a super rough cut. It's basically just to get all the metal out of the way so I can get up underneath it. That way I can have the surface open and I can get myself into the fine-tuned cut that I need. So these are the two rough cuts from the body mount. You can see that they're pretty gnarly. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll get this really cleaned up with a flapper disc, and with the cutoff wheel, we'll get the cut more refined. But this is just a rough cut, but it's done. This is the bulk of the work right here. I'm just kidding. That was funny. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna flatten this cutout. I'm gonna take off a couple of the rough edges on it, and we're gonna get this thing mounted up. That was fun. You know that was funny.
No, it's not funny. We're using the air hose to keep it cool, because with the cutting wheel going, we don't want to get that rubber hot and either melt or catch on fire. That would be bad. So air hose just cools it down a little quicker than normal.
I've got the rough cut made. I can actually get the plate inside of the bracket. And you can see that it's really close. I need more clearance on this inside right here. So I'm gonna take my pencil, I'm gonna mark where that clearance needs to be, and I'm gonna go with the cutter wheel and I'm just gonna cut that tab off and we'll get it closer. And then once I get that cut done, we'll clean it up with the flapper disc and we'll get this thing in. Also, throughout this process, as I have this in here, I'm inserting the bushing back into the mount to make sure there's plenty of clearance. This is a rubber bushing between the frame and the body, and it needs to compress and squish. There needs to be room on all around it. You can't have that plate right up against the bushing because it can't do its job to compress. Poquito caliente. Burn a hole in my glove. Ooh. When I made my first cut on the bracket, this was the first chunk I took off, and this is the bottom of the bracket. This was my second cut, and this is the top part that kind of does this deal. And then from there, I just slivered it. Everything is just slivering to get the rough cut down to a fine cut where it will fit on like the pictures you're looking at right now. A smooth cut really is very important to get a good weld. With a bad weld, it'll fall apart, it'll be porous, it'll rust out, it'll be bad. So be sure to get a nice smooth cut to get a nice smooth weld, that way everything goes together beautifully. All right, weld this bad boy in. just finished stitch welding the bracket. I think it looks pretty good. Now guys, don't beat me up too bad. Believe it or not, my day job is not welder. I'm gonna clean it up now, and let's see what it looks like.
What do you think? I think I can see my reflection in it.
It's down here. There we go. Oh, that's so nice. We've got the new bracket welded in, and we've got it ground down, smooth looking. It's like glass, spray painted. Now we've got a nice protective coating on it. And now we're going to put all the trim back on, put the wheels back on, and call this project complete.
Did you mention this guy?
Jet! Before we put the wheels and tires back on, we should probably put that bushing back in. So let's go ahead and do the bushing right now.
When reinstalling the bushing, the large hole goes inside. There's metal sheathing around the bolt in there, and there's a metal washer on the bottom. Then the washer goes under that, and then the nut. And you can just hold the bottom stud while you put on the nut hand tight.
How tight are you gonna make it?
Good and tight. Boom.
And now the next step is to put the trim all back together.
I'm gonna remove our little tool holding that thing up and push that back down. Doesn't really want to stay, but that's all right. As soon as we get this thing in, it will hold it down plenty tight. Goes on like this with these two up top.
That was a very positive click.
Clickety clack. Don't talk back.
Alright guys, that wraps up Trev's body mount chop on the 4Runner. How do you think it went?
I think it went really well, especially since you did all the work. So I thought it went great. I did a lot of filming.
Yeah. I think it took us right around that 6 hour mark. It's hard to tell with YouTube time, but I would give it about 6 hours if you want to tackle that on your own.
Yeah. And plasma cutter, I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
Makes quick work of things. It's sloppy, but it makes quick work of rough cuts.
Yeah. And I was gonna jump in there and try doing some of that, but honestly, who's got time for that? And it's not really something I'm interested in doing, and he's pretty good at it. I'll give him that. And what he lacks in welding skills, he definitely makes up in grinding.
I can grind the shit out of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Man. The process went well. I thought it was pretty smooth. The cuts, although a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, making that first initial cut, but once you get into it and it starts to fit in there, it came together pretty well. The welds went good. The grinding, I thought it came out really good. The paint looked okay. And the process went well. And there was a ton of clearance under there.
Oh yeah.
There was a ton.
I honestly, I mean, I'm pretty sure I can fit like 34-inch tires, no problem now. Maybe 35s, at least on the body chop side of things. Definitely 35s. I don't know about the clearance in the fender, but no.
I think with just a little bit more trimming in the fenders, getting the seam folded over and a little bit of removing of the interior trim panels,
yeah,
you could pretty easily fit 35s in there. There's a ton of clearance now.
It's big tires though. I don't know if I want 35s. Big tires. It's a daily driver still.
Yeah, sure. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace. Larger 285/70. Oh my God, why am I like too much Mountain Dew? All right. You and your high fives.
Step number one, and the most important thing.
I'm making stupid faces over here.
I'm making stupid faces?
I'm looking at you. It's hard not to. Quiet from the peanut. We're filming here. All right. Quiet on the set.
All right, God, you're rolling. And go. Go. Karate chop, go. That's right.
Yeah.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty. How do you think it went?
It went choppily.
No, don't. Whatever you just did, don't do that again.
Don't do that again.
Don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do that again. It went chop, choppy. It was chop, chop. Chewy chop, chop, chop.
Chop-tastic.
Chop, chop, chewy chop.